Bruh, have you seen the Dallas Mavericks roster? It is stacked. But I still think the Pelicans got a shot at taking on one of the teams in their division that is coming off another injury-plagued season like they are. We're going to take a look at how the Pels match up against the Mavericks in the upcoming season inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, y'all? It's your people, Melz on the MIC. Back once again inside Pelicans Digest on the late night tip. That football game was getting boring, so I decided to hop on and continue with our division preview series in the Southwest Division of the NBA and how the Pelicans will match up against all the teams that they have to face. So thank you so much for continuing to subscribe. Continue to hit that subscribe button, like this video, subscribe, share with your fellow Pels fans as we get ready for the season in a couple of weeks. And of course, one of the top teams in the Western Conference going into this season on paper will more than likely be the Dallas Mavericks. Their roster is loaded, man. They got Kyrie Irving, they got Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, they just signed D'Angelo Russell, and also they got the number one pick in Cooper Flag coming onto the team this season. And last year they had an injury-riddled season just like the Pels. Of course, as we know, they traded Luka Doncic, which sent the entire city. I live about an hour away from Dallas. This city was in a state of chaos towards the end of the season. This fan base, you talk about a fan base that was pissed. This fan base was pissed, and we all know the story of what happened after that. But apparently the league hooked them up with a monstrous haul of players in this draft. Of course, they got the number one draft pick, as you know, in Cooper Flag, and made some great signings as well. But unfortunately, he also lost Kyrie Irving at the start of who's probably not going to be there at the start of the season. So they're going to be relying a lot more on Anthony Davis. But it's being reported that he may not be available for the start of the season. And we're going to get into that in a matter of minutes. But first, I wanted to go into something that was written on Mavs.com about the upcoming season with the Mavs and what they're expecting. And one of the things that Eddie Sefko wrote on Mavs.com is that this team will protect the basket, and the potential that Cooper Flag brings makes this one of the NBA's most must-watch teams. And he's not lying about that, man. Cooper Flag came out there in Summer League, and he stunned it. Now, there was a couple of games where we saw Jeremiah Fears actually put up better numbers, but they're going to have a stacked front court over there in Dallas. They're going to have a stacked front court. So they're going to be protecting the basket. And thankfully, again, this is why you went and got a Kevon Looney again. This is why you went and signed a Sadiq Bey and Derek Queen to show up that front line around Zion. So, and E. Missy as well. You got E. Missy in the backcourt. E. Missy played in a bunch of games last season against Dallas and did well and handled his own. So, I think that front court is going to be a battle in itself. I can see us being evenly matched, the Pelicans being evenly matched with the Mavs in that department. Now, I will tell you where the key to the Pelicans beating these guys will come from. Now, last season, the Pelicans Mavericks went 3-1 against the Pelicans last season. Of course, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic dominated both of those, most of those games. They were the points leader in a lot of those games. But there was a one win where the Pels they won by a point, and it was a game where Dejounte Murray scored 30 points, and I believe Trey Murphy had 20-something points. Let me double check that to make sure. Yeah, that's right. Dejounte Murray scored 30 points. Trey Murphy III had a disputed block of Spencer Dinwiddie's layup with the lead with 4 seconds left, and the New Orleans Pelicans outlasted the injury-depleted Mavericks 119-116. This was back in January earlier this season. So I think, and this is what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to guard play. Okay, I think it's really going to come down to who's going to be the guards running things when they get back in the season, because again, Kyrie Irving's not going to be there at the start of the season for the Mavericks. That gives the Pels an advantage. You got to deal with, I think Max Christie or somebody else. And Max Christie is a fine player, but again, you also may not have Anthony Davis there at the start of the season, and you might not have Derek Lively there at the start of the season. So they're going to be relying heavily on Cooper Flag at the start of the season. Because again, last season they were one of the most injury-riddled teams in the NBA, and according to Eddie Sefko of Mass.com, only one thing scares the Mavericks right now: the injury guys that poo-pooed their 2024-2025 season. They lost so many player games to injury that everybody stopped counting when Irvin went down with a torn knee ligament, and that's going to be a lingering question. If the future Hall of Famer doesn't come back by, say, the All-Star break or thereabouts, then this season will be in jeopardy for the Dallas Mavericks. So what does that mean for the Pelicans? Well, you have got to take advantage of these games that you see them early in. I think you have 2 games against them in November and 1 in December, and then you don't see them, I think, until January. So so that means you got at least those 4 games you could be possibly playing without having to deal with Kyrie Irving. So it's going to really come down at the end of the day to guard play. At the end of the day, whoever's in that backcourt, whoever's going to lead that backcourt is going to be the key to this team winning. Now, of course, Murray won't be there at the start of the season. He's going to probably come back later on in the season. As we know, he's already, we think, ahead of schedule from what we've been seeing. But I came across something fascinating. In the season before last, when the Bells had everybody healthy and, they went into the play-in and did well and won all those games, in that particular season, the Mavs won 50 games, but the Bells went 2-2 in those games. In the 4 games that they had against the Mavericks that season, they went 2-2. They split the matchup, the 4-game series with them. Want to know who was the leading scorer in 2 of those wins against the Dallas Mavericks? Get ready for this, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan Hawkins. Jordan Hawkins was the points leader in those 2 wins when the Bells were fully healthy. When the Bells were fully healthy a season ago, before last season, he was leading the points leader. He was the points leader against the Dallas Mavericks in those 2 wins that they had in the season split that they had. That's why I continue to say I'm good on Jordan Hawkins. That's why I continue to say, can Jordan Hawkins do that again this season? I mean, it depends on how much minutes he's going to get. But I will say this, and to finish up my point about what is it going to take for us to beat the Dallas Mavericks, it's going to come down to guard play. And I believe that Jordan Poole is going to be the key to that. It's going to be the key to that success. In the last, I think, 5 games against Dallas, he's averaged 11 points. But in the last game that he played against the Mavericks with the Washington Wizards, he had 8 assists. So if you're going to give him the ball and let him lead the offense going into these games, into the upcoming season at point guard, I think this will lead to a favorable matchup because, again, you don't have to deal with Kyrie Irving early on in the season. You might not have to deal with Anthony Davis early on in the season. So these are chances that the Bells have to get out early and dominate and steal, and at least steal those first 2 or 3 games against the Mavericks early on in the season to take at least a good advantage lead into the division. Now, again, I think at worst this season, the Bells, if they could get it done early, because again, they played them early before most of these games are going to be played before Kyrie Irving gets back. I think the Bells can at least, my original estimate on this was they're going to split the series again 2-2. That's my original estimate. But now that I do that, once I started digging into the research and I started seeing that these guys, that some of their main stalwarts may not be there, and you got a fully healthy Pels team going in with the exclusion of Murray, you have a chance to at least take a 2-3 game up on the Mavs. You can at least get 2 or 3 games from the Mavs and steal them early, especially if they played in November and December. So that's my thoughts on that. I really do think that despite being one of the most talented teams on paper, they're coming off the same situation the Pels are with injuries and all the other stuff, and guys may not be back at the start of the season. So, and plus, they're going to have, and so that means they're going to have to rely heavily on Cooper Flag. And can he handle that? He's got a lot of great talent around him. Najee's still there. If I'm not mistaken, also Klay Thompson. So you still have another good player around it. But again, you have a younger team. A lot of the Pels, again, what works to their advantage is they're younger, mostly at their core, than Dallas is. So you got a chance to get out there early and get fresher and get better and ahead of schedule. So that's my hope. I'm hoping, I'm trying to be as positive as I can here, but I do see the Pels. If they can steal those the 2 matchups in November and 1 in December, I think that would put us at an advantage. I don't know what's going to happen in the later games. If it's still like that, maybe Dallas has everybody back and they come back and they whoop out behind. I don't know how that's going to work. It's towards the middle of the season, but I do see that the Pels do have a chance to at least get the jump early in the season, just like they did with Memphis and the other team, San Antonio. Now, I already did videos on those guys, so if you want to check it out, go check back on the past videos of what I did as far as the division review on Memphis, San Antonio so far. We got Dallas down. What are your thoughts, though? What are your thoughts on this? Do you see the Dallas Mavericks giving us a whole bunch of problems with that entirely talented, huge roster that they have, or do the Pelicans got a shot? I mean, from what I can see on paper, they wasn't what? Now, okay, I won't say wasn't what. On paper, to look like wasn't what. But when you look at the reality of the injuries that they have to deal with and things of that nature, yeah, it could be wasn't what. What are your thoughts? Clap back with your thoughts in the comments, man. And tomorrow, we're going to have another video up for you. So make sure you keep it locked right here on Pelicans Digest. Hit like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow Pels fans. It's Melz talking about them Pels right here on Pelicans Digest. I appreciate you for checking us out.